Compare this shot here of me scuba diving versus this shot of me scuba diving, and you can see why this thing is such a friggin' big deal. Today is gonna be both amazing, and I'm also incredibly nervous about today. We are in Maui right now. Insta360 wanted me to dive somewhere with their invisible dive case that was actually like a dive location, because when they launched this thing, the visibility in San Diego was terrible around that time. So I kind of only had an option of taking this thing to a pool to show you guys how awesome it was. And Insta360 was like, you should go somewhere like Cancun or Hawaii or something like that and go dive with this thing and get some real footage. So we're in Maui, and my idea was basically that we would snorkel with the turtles, because when my wife and I came here 4 years ago, five years ago, we made a video about this spot right here, this beach right here. It's called McKenna Landing Park. And if you're in Maui, come here to McKenna Landing Park. Do not book a snorkel tour, and you can just swim with turtles right off the beach. But when we came here yesterday to kind of scout it out, make sure the turtles were still hanging out here, I met a guy. His name is Glenn, and Glenn owns a tattoo shop, but he doesn't have business cards for it yet. He just wrote diving on the back of his tattoo shop card, and he does scuba tours. Now I am scuba certified, but I have not done a dive in over 20 years. So 20 years ago, I got my PADI certification, and then I literally have not used it since. But he said I'd be fine. He's like, oh, you'll be fine. We'll do a refresher before we get going, and you'll be fine. So instead of snorkeling today with the Insta360 dive case, I'm gonna go scuba diving. I'm pretty nervous about it. I'm here at McKenna Landing Park a little early because I was nervous. And Glenn's not here yet. He's supposed to be here in 40 minutes. I have 40 minutes to hang out. Glenn just showed up. I'm gonna go find out what the plan is for today. All right, I'm feeling like a little better right now, but he did say, can you see that boat out there? Apparently we're gonna put scooters between our legs, and we're gonna scooter out to that boat, and then we're gonna go over, and then we're gonna go down 60 feet, and there's an old tank from World War II that's there, and then from there, we're gonna scooter somewhere else and go and see a landing craft that flipped upside down. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Real quickly, David from the future here. Obviously, we're home already. I was so nervous the day that we went scuba diving that I forgot to even really talk about the invisible dive case from Insta360 and how this thing works. I made a whole video about this thing when it first launched. Go click up there and go watch that. My daughter helped me. It was adorable. But essentially, this is the first dive case for a 360 camera to be able to cancel out the pole. So just like when you're above the water and you're cruising around with that stick and it is canceling out the pole, looking like a drone is flying in front of you, this is the first time we've been able to do that underwater. And it's because these are not just plastic domes, these are actually lenses. It's like two giant lenses that are refracting light to be able to make it look like the camera is wider than it actually is. So look how thick this case is, look how thick this camera is. The lenses do not actually extend into the lenses on the case. The lenses on the camera don't actually extend into those bubbles, but when I put it in here and I look at it, I can easily from the side view see both lenses in the bubbles, which are also lenses. And by doing that, by not just giving us bubbles, by giving us lenses, it allows it to act as if the lenses are outset or offset wider than they actually are. And once again, we can cancel out the pole underwater. And if you're a diver, like the footage you're about to see is bananas. It doesn't make any sense. There's a shot of Glenn, keep your eyes out for this thing, where he's on the scooter and he does like this cool spin maneuver like over it's bananas. We'll talk more about this on the other side, but first watch the footage from this thing, diving in Maui. We went down to, I think, 60 feet. We were maybe a half mile offshore. It was crazy.
I cannot believe that.
Scooters, right?
Scooters are so rad. Holy cow.
Dude, we went way out there too.
We're so far out. Woo! That was wild, man. Woo! Oh my God.
How insane is that footage underwater with the X3? And to kind of show like the difference, like what would it look like if you just had a normal action camera? I wore an action camera on my mask, which is kind of how I've done it in the past. Like if I was going free diving or if I was going snorkeling, I would just wear the action camera on my mask to kind of get that POV shot. And it's less than exciting. Compare this shot here of me scuba diving versus this shot of me scuba diving, and you can see why this thing is such a friggin' big deal. This dive case brings those like mind-bending shots that we get above water, underwater. And now we get those while we're scuba diving or snorkeling or free diving. That's pretty awesome. And what I got on my 1 hour dive while I was in Maui was amazing. We also swam with turtles later. I was just snorkeling with the turtles, and those shots were incredible as well. But if you wanna go see some rad footage out of the X3 and the invisible dive case, Glenn, who took me scuba diving, he saw the footage and he was like, this is insane, I need one of these. He went out and bought one right away. He got an X3, he got the invisible dive case, and he's been posting on his Instagram, which is Neptune Dive. I'll put it on the screen. I'll link him in the description. Go check out Glenn's Instagram and you'll see like he goes on scuba trips all the time. Like every day he's out scuba diving and he's diving with this thing. He's getting some insane footage. For sure, go check it out. Massive thank you to Insta360 for giving me this experience of scuba diving in Maui. Thank you to Glenn for showing me the wrecks. Like that was way more than I thought. Like I thought I was just gonna like, you know, scuba dive around the shore, and he was like, we're gonna go way out there, and that really worked out. Oh, and thank you to Morgan. That day, that morning, it was actually our 8-year wedding anniversary, and she was like, yeah, I'll watch the kids while you go scuba dive. And yeah, thank you, honey. I love you so much. As always, I want to hear your thoughts on the Insta360 invisible dive case, the footage coming out of the X3 underwater. Like, what did you think of that? If you have any questions about this dive case, about this setup with the X3, throw them in the comments below, and I will see you soon. This is gonna be a weird lens tap, but yeah, man.
Neptune diving in Maui. Call this guy. Oh, that was so sick. Oh.